Hey everybody, my name's Logan, and this is Soapbox Sunday. Ladies, have you ever found yourself talking to your man, whether it's on the phone or via text or DM, whatever, just not face to face, and suddenly, from out of nowhere, you find yourself being verbally attacked and you're like, whoa, where did that come from? What was that about? What did he mean by that? Today, we're gonna talk about what he meant by that. Ladies, it's likely you often find yourself asking the question, why did I just get such a salty response? Well, I'm happy to report that the answer is simple. You didn't. The problem here is just a matter of miscommunication. That nasty message you just got, that didn't come from us. It came from a gross misinterpretation of the message we actually sent, turning this into this. Now, before this observation is interpreted as some sort of attack, I just want to say that it's really not your fault. That you gleaned the worst possible message from what we say has more to do with our delivery than your inability to just take what we say at face value. See, the problem is that, as we all know, we men can be very cryptic when we speak. Instead of just saying what's on our minds explicitly, we often use a lot of inference and innuendo, a lot of underlying tones, leaving you with the unfortunate task of having to decode what we say. Well, no more, because today, I am going to teach you how to crack the code that obscures what we say so that you can tell what we mean. Now then, let's take our earlier example. Here we have your message. Now we'll pull up our response, break it down, and get to its true meaning. We'll start by removing punctuation in case to keep our message clean while we do our work. Next, we want to break up the message if it is comprised of multiple sentences or phrases. In addition, we need to determine which operator we're going to use to link these now separate parts. And we do this by identifying the pin statement. Now, what that means is that we're going to identify whether a subsequent statement in our message supports, negates, or has absolutely no impact on the previous one. Now, this step will point to only one of two options, positive or negative. And as you can see, I'll see you when you get here doesn't really support or negate the statement that's okay. As such, in its indifference, the statement will default to positive. Fancy that, ladies. Which gives us that's okay plus I'll see you when you get here. Now, while no real decryption has occurred up to this point, it is important to note that what we have done thus far is determine that this message is in fact a positive one and comes with no ill intent, which is an important distinction to make. Now, for our next step, we want to address the fact that men are too succinct. We're not very thorough in our communication, no added words, very little in the way of backstory, which can make it rather difficult to get to the heart of what we're saying. So we will want to expand this message as much as we can. Now, obviously we don't have a lot to work with here, but what we can do is expand the contractions in both parts, which gives us that is okay plus I will see you when you get here, or more appropriately, that equals okay plus I will see you when you get here. Now we need to identify the variable that, and we do this by using the tit rule. Now, tit, quite simply, is a rule that states that this is that, meaning that when the variable is unidentified, it then, by default, points to the last element, or elements, in which case the variable points to these in the order of most to least recent, until the identifier is determined. You'll get the same result should your variable be this in lieu of that, in which case that is this. Aren't we having fun? Now, using this rule, we can identify the variable that as I'll be home later. However, we want to make sure that we change the person to apply to the speaker processing the statement. In this case, changing first person I to second person you, thus, you'll be home later. As stated earlier, we'll want to expand any contractions, and this will give us "you will be home later," which, as we concluded earlier, equals okay. As such, our complete statement is now "you will be home later" equals okay, plus "I will see you when you get here." Now we must move on to yet another matter of unfinished business, in that we have a when variable that is, as of yet, undefined. However, we need only backtrack through the previous elements of our thread to remedy this, and as you can see, since we took care of the variable that as our first order of business, using the same principles of the tit rule, we find our identifier for the variable when in the previous statement, from which we will remove said identifier, that being later, to replace said variable, that being when. This gives us "you will be home" equals okay plus "I will see you later." Now then, having uncovered a clear message with a much needed specificity, all that's left is cleanup and reconstruction. Let's continue. Now, it's still important to remember that even at this stage, you are decoding a message delivered to you by us, and that you want to get to the core of that message. This will require that you remove yourself from the equation unless you are referenced in direct involvement with the speaker. You'll now also want to remove any action items related to you specifically. Having done that, once you've restored punctuation and case, and since there is no further need to express the operator verbally, you're left at long last with the true message intended, that being "okay, I will see you later." As you can see, this is a far cry from "that's okay, I'll see you when you get here," which quite honestly could be interpreted in any number of ways. And there you have it, message decoded. Easy peasy, George and Wheezy. I hope you found this helpful, ladies. But more importantly, I hope that right now you're thinking to yourselves, "You idiot, that was ridiculous. That was completely unnecessary." Because that's exactly what we think when you do whatever bullshit math in your heads. It turns the most ambiguous message into a fucking attack. In conclusion, ladies, when you receive a message from us and it could be interpreted either in a good way or with malicious intent, default to the positive. And while it may be easier for you to assume the worst, try to remember that 9 times out of 10, the harmless or positive version is probably what we meant. Because this makes more sense than this. Hey everybody, thanks so much for watching. We really hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on today's topic, or anything else that gets on your nerves that you'd like me to address on a future Soapbox Sunday, as I'll be posting new videos like this one every week. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell. You've been an awesome audience. Thanks for coming out to the show.